so I'm going to show you DataGrip. DataGrip is a product from a company called JetBrains. If anybody in the audience is a developer, probably is using some of their tool like PyCharm or IntelliJ for Java and so on. They recently launched the SQL client a couple of years ago. Last year they started to support also Exasol. Okay, you can see it, and I can go in presentation mode. So the tool is able to connect to whatever database you prefer. There are some tools like Exasol, some databases which are supported natively by Exasol, by DataGrip. But there are also, I mean, it's possible to import with the JDBC driver and connect to everything you like. So let me show you a few features that I really like. The tool is very, it's focused on developers. So let's say doing BI, ETL, and so on. I mean, maybe it's, is a tool that is more toward application developers, but there are a lot of nice tricks and things that it's possible to do. So one of the things that people do when they are developers is, it's to type as less as possible. There is this thing that a few years ago that was quite cool that was called Zen programming. It means you do as less as possible. So you do like something like this, and you have a select, or you can do things like I don't know, you do often select count, you do this, and you have a select count. You have just to write the name of the table that you want. This is actually leverage a feature of DataGrip that it's called live templates. So what you can do is you create templates or let's say aliases for the queries or the code that you write more often. What I do as a BI architect at Zalando, what I should do will be architecting things, but what I'm doing often is working as DBA. So looking at what nasty queries are making even Exasol slow, because my colleagues are very experienced guys in doing this. So I have a nice query that is doing just, monitor what is happening on the database. When I do this, I get something like this. I see the session ID, who is the user, what is doing, what is the comment. This is coming part from the session table. But if you are curious to see what is behind this, I can show you with Control Q, and you see the source. It is a bit small probably here, but behind this is a view that I wrote, so it's not in private for Zalando, so nobody. So anyway, as you can see, this is coming from the session. It's putting all the data together. It's showing some limits and some stuff regarding these queries. I know that when query duration is too long, so in presentation mode, this is a bit, it means that something is going wrong. Best thing you can do in those cases is to see the profile of the session. Writing the query for the profile it's taking time, so what I do is just writing this. As you saw, this is a union between what queries, the profile of the queries running at this moment, and the profile of the query run during the last 24 hours. This is because sometimes the queries, they can complete before I'm able to run this query, even if with live templates I'm pretty fast. So what I do a union of both things. I run this, and if I'm still connected to the Zalando VPN, I will see the profile information of this. So it looks like I'm not connected. But anyway, I can see the profile information of the query very quickly. Here we are. And see what this query that at this point it's completely finished is doing. I do a lot of interesting things with live templates. For example, when again, as a DBA, someone comes to me and say, what about this privilege for this role? If I'm able to type role, yeah, I have a bunch of queries that automatically appears regarding the role privileges. So for example, we have role, I don't know, the DBA role, As you can see, this populates automatically the 3 queries, and I can run one after the other these queries and see what kind of privileges I have as a DBA. As you can see, I have no privileges, so I don't need to do anything for today. So this is the live template things. Another thing that is it's quite interesting for me when you connect to a database, DataGrip starts to collect a lot of metadata. So you can see the metadata in a tree structure, so the tables, the views, etc. But this is really cool. For example, if you want to write a query that, I don't know, shows you, for example, all objects that you have. And what you write is sys, and then funny thing is that if you write objects, you don't need to start after the dot with the starts of the table. You can write object, and this shows you all the tables with objects. Let's say another interesting thing is I want to see all the objects which are actually views. So select views. Of course, I'm not going to write something because it's a bit stupid, like this normally, but what I want to show you is that when you are here, normally you can run this query. When I press Control Enter, DataGrip offer me the possibility to run the full statement, the select star. If I want, I can run also the full script from the beginning, but I can also run only the subqueries. This is quite interesting when I'm working with MicroStrategy queries, because MicroStrategy use a lot of common table expression, and I can focus on running only part of it quite easily. And the last thing that I want to show you, because DataGrip is coming from a company that does a lot of tooling for developers, they even invented their own language, Kotlin. Lua is, let's say, first level citizen in DataGrip. So if I have a Lua script, maybe I should get out from the presentation mode at this point, and I want to show you some of my scripts. For example, this is a Lua script. I can format Lua with formatting rules which are different from SQL. I can have specific live templates that work only in Lua, for example. This is an example of the scripts that I run. So there is, if I write something that doesn't make sense in Lua, DataGrip will tell me that there is an error. But another nice feature is that you can leverage in DataGrip all the plugins written for other JetBrains tools. So you have also, for example, a plugin that offers you a Lua REPL. As you can see, I was doing some tests here this morning, and I can, write. I'm not a, full-fledged Lua programmer, developer, or whatever. It's always a bit difficult for me to work with Lua, but the possibility to test the code and see what's going on here and see what how this reacts. Maybe it's not exactly how the code will run inside Exasol, but I have a good feeling what my script will do even before compiling and creating a second script that will run my script and so on. So I found this kind of feature in DataGrip quite nice, and because I prefer to waste as less time as possible, I try to automate as much as possible. I found this tool quite nice for me. So this is more or less, and I leave this to Thomas and Carl. Okay, thank you.
So now with a demonstration of dbeaver, we have Karl Grieser and Thomas Beschleich, who will talk to you about DB Visualizer as well.
Good morning, everyone. And for my second presentation, I will show you the Beaver. I've got no laptop, so I'm borrowing from Thomas, and he has, actually to boot up. So I will use the time to talk about the Beaver. Yesterday I said that you have to build your own tools, and we weren't very satisfied with Exa Plus. So we decided to create a plugin, and I developed the Beaver plugin for Exasol with support for Exasol. And The Beaver is an open source tool. It comes free of charge. Everyone can use it. Basically, this is the UI. Can you read it? Yeah, I think the size is okay. It has a schema browse. It's a typical DBA tool. You have a schema browse on the left side, and you can explore your database schemas. Okay, don't we have a mouse or something? Yes, great. You see your schema objects, and can go to the tables, can generate the SQL. What's not in there, we don't do grants in the DDL generation, because for our case it was sufficient without the grants, because we have an automation who creates roles and grants for every table. If the feature is needed, just go on GitHub, open an issue, and say I'd like that feature or this feature. The Beaver has some exploration, a session overview, a log manager where you can see sessions that are in log mode. Currently, we don't have any sessions on that database. You see your connection objects. You can browse into the connection objects and see the definitions. It's a rather slow instance of Exasol. Good for presentation. You can explore users and roles and their grants on system, and yeah, it's really slow. Or the mouse is not working. Yeah. Bad for a presentation. Yeah, there you go, and you see the grants and the grants on different object scripts or system privileges. Now with the DBA role, you see which system grants are granted to that role. You see virtual schemas and their parameters, the adapters they use. You can actually alter certain things directly. I'm not going to alter the owner of the schema. And the statement is generated. You can copy it or persist it immediately. Yeah, we have some DDL generation. If you just right-click and can generate the DDL, the SQL statement, all kind of stuff. We have support for import-export. If you want to create a CSV file fast, you can do this for multiple tables, like this, and it generates an export statement like this. You can enable compression, so basically it's just adds a GZ extension, and the CSV file is automatically compressed, and you get a screen like this for fast exports. Then we also have like data grid. We have auto-completion for columns. I don't know the database, so I'm actually exploring it on the run. You also have column auto-completion, and yeah. Basically common usage, join syntax support and autocomplete and stuff like that. They are used from other tools or other vendors. It's free of charge, it's open source, and just go there, try it out. If you have any issues with the tool, just create an issue on GitHub. I will look at it, and I will check if I can fix it in a timely manner or implement additional features. There's actually a paid version of the Beaver. The only difference is that you get additional plugins for MongoDB, which is quite good, a quite good plugin. And your tickets on GitHub get a higher priority in development. Not from my side, because I'm not working for these guys, but from Sergey, who is the developer of the Beaver, and his people. Results browsing is also enabled. You can sort, which actually pushes down into the statement in order by. You can edit your values directly in the table, and basically an SQL statement for update is generated, and I can just save it. You can export to Excel, If you want to export your result set into Excel, I hope there's an Excel installed on that machine. Or not. Obviously no Excel. Just slow. Yeah, the basic user error. Double click if it's not opening. Yeah, basically that's the Beaver. It's a heavily used tool in our company. Almost every developer has a Beaver installation. It's free of charge. It supports many databases. There are native plugins for Postgre with enhanced functionality debugging. There might be a release within this year where we support native and syntax highlighted Lua autocomplete. It's actually on the roadmap. I don't want to make any promises. I've learned that from Jens. But we try to support it. Are there any scripts in a database, functions? Thomas, are there any scripts in a database, Lua scripts?
You go to the UDF collection schema. There are some scripts.
Okay. Because here, basically what you can already do is just as a Python, okay, no. Simple set. Yeah. Basically what you already can do, you can edit your function, which is we have a syntax error, and it will automatically create an open schema, drop script, and create script within one transaction. So if you have a syntax error, you won't drop just your function, but you can just edit the source code really quick. Yeah, basically that's it. It has exploration. It has native support for Exasol. You can edit your table definitions directly in. Yeah, let's alter this one. Column not found. That's great. Obviously a bug because they have lower uppercase columns in there, and I'm not escaping it currently. You can open an issue for this one, and I will promise to fix it within days. We're not using that. It's basically tailored at the moment to our company needs, and I don't get awfully a lot feedback on the Beaver, but try it out. It's free, and I didn't get in Jens' presentation if the new DB Visualizer official client is free or included. Is it not included? So the Beaver is open source. It's free. Go try. Go, give it a shot, and I hope for some feedback, because mainly the development stopped because everything is in there that I needed, and we have a lot of other tools, and if you need anything like visualization of accounting or auditing or something like that, I will be happy to build it as soon as I get the time, but yeah, just try it out, give it a shot. It's a nice tool if you have multiple databases like MariaDB, Postgre, or stuff like that. It has full support for these databases, and yeah, just give it a shot.
Okay, last but not least, I would like to show you our results from working with the company DB Visualizer. So DB Visualizer is from Stockholm. So we had a very fruitful collaboration with them starting this year, and our aim is to make it really like the Swiss Army knife as a SQL developer tool to work with Exasol. So actually DB Visualizer is a universal tool, so you can have connections also to your other source systems there. You can also find here different connections here on the tree on the left side. Okay, let's have a look here. The main layout looks very common. On the left you have the tree with all the objects. On the top you can find the editor tabs and the object infos, and back down you can also see here result sets and log window. Okay, let's first start with the editor. It also has a nice auto-completion in here. So And it comes with a very nice feature. You have an included explain plan button. So if you need the profile of a query, it runs the query and instantly shows you the explain plan. So here we go. We can directly find the profile information down there, which will, working on some performance optimizations, much more easier with DB Visualizer. Okay, let's have a look at the schema tree. So you can find schemas here. Also, if you have a look at the schema, it will give you also the schema size in total and also the table sizes. So all the information that is in our system tables is much easier to access via those tabs in DB Visualizer. Same also goes here for tables. You have a main info of the table. It's also able to generate the references here on the fly. So you can directly see all the foreign keys. And we added a lot of Exasol specific stuff, like showing you distribution keys, indices, and it even shows you the distribution of the table in the cluster. So you can see directly that how many rows are on which node. Okay. Let's try some other stuff. We have also implemented a lot of Exasol-specific actions for all of the objects available. So for example, you can also easily alter a table. You can set distribution keys. So you decide here, okay, the product key is a much better distribution key. So you simply click it and then execute it, and that's done. Okay, there was a reconnect in the, sorry. Should be faster, though. Okay, let's continue. For views, you can also see, of course, the DDL, the generated DDL of the view, but also to add Exasol-specific flavor, you can directly see the dependencies. So you simply click on the Dependencies tab, and you can see the dependent table there. Let's have a look at UDFs. So we implemented a very nice tree, so you can directly see the structure here. You have adapter scripts, the procedures, the so-called Lua scripts, and also for UDFs. And for UDFs, you can see very nicely here the language, also if it's a set function and if it's a emits or return functions. So it gives you, from the tree, a very good overview what kind of functions you have in your system. Of course, you can also edit and see the DDL of the scripts. Let's have a look at virtual schemas. For example, here we have a virtual schema here. So you can also see the properties straight away here with the top. And also the DDL is generated. So that's very good to instantly see it. And it also has a nice refresh button. So if you need to refresh the metadata of your virtual schema, it's a simple mouse click again. And it will also show you the generated SQL. Let's have a look at user management. So with the Beaver, you can simply add new users. It also supports, for example, LDAP users. Yeah, and then you fill in here the name. And the user gets created. So the next thing, you have a new user, you want to give him system privileges. Nothing easier than with dbeaver, you simply click here to grant system privileges, and you get a nice list of all available privileges in Exasol. So you want to give him maybe a create session right here. Same also for roles, so you can simply grant the roles to this user. So we want to give him the analyst role. You can choose if you want to have the admin option or not. And the same also applies to the whole tree. So for example, if you want to go here and grant a privilege here to the schema, you can simply select the object privileges, like select, insert, update, yeah, and select the guarantee. So it makes the life for DBAs working with Exasol much more smoother. Let's have a look also at monitoring. So we implemented a lot of graphical monitoring features in DB Visualizer. For example, here let's have a look at a real cluster. So here you can see the database size daily. You can see it for your last day and your monthly trends. So you can have a very good overview how the system size develops over time. You can even make those graphs bigger. So here for the screen, it's much easier to see. And you can also modify those graphs on the fly. So you can also select here other measures. So you can adopt them to your needs. Same also for monitoring. You can just also, for example, here the CPU load. You can also simply click here on reload and see what's happening on your system right now. And we implemented that not only for the monitoring, but also for the cluster statistics. So you can see overall statistics of your SQL runs. It's a lot to show here, so we are running out of time. Let's have a look at some other great stuff. Next one would be auditing. So you want to see, for example, here the longest running statements on the current day. So you can here select the command class. So for selects, it's DQL. And then you can directly go here and see the long-running statements. And then you can also directly go down and drill down to the query profile. So it has never been easier to analyze, for example, long-running statements on your system. Okay, same also applies for session management. By the way, okay, we forgot here to give you, there's also an overall system overview. So you can directly click on the system events. So you want to know when was the last startup of the system. You can simply search in here and find out when that happened. Same also for parameters. You get here a nice overview, and also for the storage volumes of the system. So all the information you want to gather as a DBA is very simple to get. Let's have a look at the session browsers. This also has a direct connection to the running profile. So you only need to select here the session ID, and you will get directly the running profile. And there are, of course, many more features. I just showed you now the focus on Exasol, but it has so many functionality to explore. So I think it's a really, really good alternative to work with Exasol for DBAs and SQL developers. And just to remind you, we have we want your feedback. So please try out DB Visualizer Pro and send us your feedback. What do you like on the tool? What you think we need to improve, and so on, and send it to evaluation report to dbvisualizer@exasol.com, and then you will receive a free Pro license from us. So thank you very much.